It's Casual Friday. Let's talk about my week in weight management, as well as GLP-1 and fitness news, and answering your questions. Hello and welcome to Amanda Widener Wellness. My name's Amanda. I'm so excited to have you here. On this channel, we talk about all things weight loss, weight management, tools like GLP-1s, fitness, nutrition, and everything in between. Today is Casual Friday. This is a series where I update you on my week in my own journey, as well as what's going on in the news in weight loss, GLP-1s, nutrition, and answer any questions that have come in from you over the past week. I have my cats here joining us today. This is Emma and Chester. So they wanted to be on camera apparently, so we have some special guests. So let's dive into my week. So first of all, let me apologize if you can hear the congestion. I've actually been sick over the past week, but let me talk about that because I found it really interesting. So since I started on my journey, which I started in November of 2024, I was 284 pounds. I'm only 5'5", so I was morbidly obese. I used to get sick if someone with a cold looked at me. Like anywhere near me, I would immediately get whatever virus they had. But that hasn't been my experience since starting this journey, especially since I got on my GLP-1. I have not been sick at all. Around this time last year, I got sick, but it was because I got a minor head cold like I have right now. I was feeling fine, but then I got a sinus infection. Now I have nasal polyps. I probably need to have them surgically removed because if I get anything like caught in my sinuses, I get a sinus infection. So that's why I was sick. It was not from a virus. It was from the sinus infection due to nasal polyps. So this time I got sick as well. I did take the time off, which is a struggle for me. I don't like to not like miss my workouts, not teach, whatever, when I'm sick. But this time I said, listen, I don't have the time to be really sick. So I took the week off. I got coverage for all of my classes and I really put in the effort to rest this week. And I wasn't feeling 100%. I never felt like awful. And I'm already starting to feel better. So I'm a little congested and that's pretty much it. I should be back to my routine today and I'm really excited. We'll see how classes go. Anytime you take time off, especially a week from teaching cardio classes, that first class back is brutal, but I tend to jump back into my cardio levels pretty quickly. So I'm looking forward to being back at the gym today, but that does mean I haven't done a workout since I taught my online class on Monday, which means I missed my Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday workouts. So we'll see what happens today. But like I said, I started my journey in November of 2024 at 284 pounds. I'm 5'5". And as of this week, I am 173.5 pounds. So that's down half a pound from last week when I finally broke my plateau for a total of 110.5 pounds down. I normally don't do the like point whatever. I usually round it to the nearest whole number. But I just wanted to make sure that y'all knew that I was still progressing past that plateau. I've come to a point in my journey where my weight loss has significantly slowed. So I'm in body recomposition. I'm working on increasing my muscle mass and just changing the shape of my overall body so I can be leaner. I am 173 pounds, but I definitely have some loose skin. I get that question a lot. This is all skin right here. And I have some on my stomach and I've got some on my thighs, but it's mostly my arms that really bother me. But I also have a lot of muscle because of what I do for a living, because I've been working on progressive overload for several months. And so I could be in maintenance if I wanted to be. I'm in this like weird limbo where I can choose to stay in maintenance because of my muscle mass, or I could continue losing just a little bit more. So I've decided to stay in a calorie deficit, but I'm not in a huge calorie deficit because I need to eat more calories and have higher protein to focus on body recomposition, to feed my muscles the protein that it needs every day to grow. So we'll see where that takes me. I'll reevaluate with my next doctor's appointment. I tend to meet with my physicians every 90 days because I have multiple autoimmune diseases and I'm just in like this weird phase of my weight loss journey. So, but that's where I am right now. So I expect that number to move down very slowly. For a long time last year, I was losing almost or like close to 2 pounds a week. And then since then, that's really slowed down. And I expect it to be like that for most of the year. It will just continue to slow down until it stops altogether. And I'm okay with that because if you would ask me a year ago if I would be in a size 6 pair of jeans on camera, I would have laughed in your face. But here I am in a pair of size 6 jeans and a medium top, and I'm very happy. So yes, I've been sick. I'm feeling much better. I'm definitely handling being sick much better than my body ever handled it before. before I started this journey, if I got the sniffles, I was down for the count. Like I would go downhill so quickly when I got sick. Like it was almost like my body would just give up. And it probably was. I was carrying a lot of weight. I had my autoimmune diseases. I wasn't feeding it the right way. And all of that's changed. So it's been not a horrible week of being sick. It's just a little congestion. I know, Emma. Okay. So let's talk about my nutrition this week. So like I said, I've been sick. So it started out with a plan, and my plan changed a little bit, but I've still done pretty well about eating what I had planned ahead of time because I already bought the groceries. So for breakfast this week, I did those, you might have seen it in my What I Eat in a Day video. I did avocado on a hash brown with some cottage cheese, and that's delicious. I love that. It's a nice and filling and satisfying meal, and then I eat it with fruit. I don't always get to most of the fruit because it's so filling, but it is a really good breakfast. And then I put some everything but the seasoning on there. Delicious. But once I started not feeling well, instead of wanting like a really filling breakfast like that, I decided I wanted something kind of cold and a little bit lighter. And so I was making like acai fruit bowls. So I get acai packets in the freezer section. I would put that in with some blended strawberries and blueberries, and then I would add protein powder to that. So I was supplementing with protein powder more than I would in a normal meal. I prefer to eat like whole foods when I can, but when I'm sick, that's kind of like the exception. It was kind of like when I started on the medication or when I was titrating up. Sometimes I didn't have a full appetite, but I could add protein powder to things so I could find something that I could handle that didn't overfill me or make me feel bad, and then I could supplement with the protein to make sure I was getting the protein I needed. So this is not something I would do all the time, but having an acai bowl from time to time is a great way to start my day and supplement with the protein that I need to get started, as long as I'm not doing it every single day. My lunches this week I made in my What I Eat in a Day video. They were the chicken, turkey, bacon, ranch scoopable salads. I've been serving those with plain rice cakes. They're delicious. So that's 2 weeks in a row I've done scoopable salads. They're so easy. I love that they're just in a big bowl and I can just scoop out a serving. But next week I'm going to be making something a little bit different. I really want to make some warm lunches. So I was kind of over the hot lunches and I wanted something cold. So I went with the scoopable salads for 2 weeks, and now I'm ready to go back to hot lunches. So I'm going to be making something different next week. I'll keep you posted on that. Dinners this week. In my What I Eat in a Day video, I showed them again. I've made this in a previous What I Eat in a Day video. It's the sweet potato turkey skillet. My family loves these. They're easy. They've got really great nutrients in them, lots of protein, and they're all in one dish, right? So I just cook them all in the skillet. So it's nice and easy weeknight cleanup. So I made those again. So it was 2 nights. Then I did, because I was sick, chicken rice soup. So rotisserie chicken and chicken broth. I added lots of seasonings to onion, carrots, celery, and then some rice was tossed in there just so I could have a little bit of like sustenance in there. But that was great for when I wasn't feeling well. The chicken broth was great for my throat. I really enjoyed that. And I'm thinking over the weekend, we're probably going to do like some grilled chicken. My husband busted out the grill last weekend to make burgers. I had a burger bowl. I'll post a picture today. The burger bowl was delicious, but all it did was make me want grilled chicken on the grill. So I think I'm going to ask him to grill some chicken this weekend with some grilled asparagus, which I haven't had asparagus in a while, but my son asked for some and I was like, that is exactly what I want. And then my daughter requested this mac and cheese casserole. It's like a white cheddar mac and cheese casserole thing. So I'll make that. It's actually got a lot of vegetables in it. It's got celery and carrots and onion in it. And you like chop them up super, super fine. And then you cook it with gluten-free for me, noodles and white cheddar, and there's a little bit of cream of mushroom soup in there. It sounds disgusting, but my aunt made it for me when I was visiting her in Canada this past summer, and it's delicious, and my kids love it. So I'll just have a small serving of that for like a fun food to go with my grilled chicken and asparagus. And then we've been experimenting with the Ninja Creamy a little bit, and so I think I'm going to see if I can make some sort of like strawberry Ninja Creamy recipe over the weekend. So I'll keep you posted on how that goes. I kind of already mentioned my workouts this week were non-existent. I worked out on Monday to teach my online class, then I was off Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'm going to go back this morning to teaching my normal class, and then I'm going to try to get my workouts in on Saturday. So hopefully I'm back to my regular program at this. But did want to mention this past weekend, I actually ran a 5K. Now, if you saw my community tab, you've already read this, but My catchphrase is usually, if you see me running, also run, because something scary is happening. I'm not a runner. I can dance all day, like all day. I will swim, I will bike, I will kayak. I love those things. I'm always up and moving. But running is just something I do not enjoy. And if you are somebody who enjoys it, that is amazing. I love that for you. Honestly, I'm jealous. I wish I enjoyed running more, but I just don't. It's not for me. But I can dance all day, all day. I'll dance and walk and swim, no problem. But I wanted to challenge myself. My gym was hosting this 5K event and over Valentine's Day week, and we canceled all the group fitness classes. And so I was like, you know what? I'll volunteer for it. I'll help with some of the stuff beforehand. And then what the heck? I'm going to run it. I haven't done a 5K in like 6 years. We have this thing in the area called the Bridge Run. And several years ago, I decided I wanted to do it. Now that's a 10K. And so to build up to that, I had made a New Year's resolution that year to do a 5 or 10K every month for 12 months. And I did it. And that was 2019. That was before my knee surgery. It was really hard. Like I said, I hate running, but I did it. I completed it. So I knew I could do this 5K this time. So I signed up and I said, I'm going to try to see how much of it I can run before I am just miserable. It's not that I run out of cardio endurance. I just don't enjoy it. And so, but I was like, you know what? I'm not going to train for it. I'm just going to do it. It's 3.2 miles. It's less distance than I walk every day. I can do this. And when I was getting ready to like do all the volunteer stuff, my daughter asked if she could run it with me. My daughter's 13. And I said, you know what? Why not? So I signed her up. She actually came and helped volunteer. So we got up really early in the morning, which if you knew her, you would know that's a miracle. We got up really early in the morning. We went to the gym. We helped with registration, and then we ran it together. So she actually took off in the beginning, even though I kept telling her to pace herself. And she got really fatigued about 1.5 miles in. And so she took off. The first 1.5 miles, so the first little less than half of it, we were apart. But then I caught up to her, and then I was pushing her to keep jogging. And we did stop a couple times to walk because she didn't pace herself. She wanted to outrun her mom, but I ended up running ahead at the end and I beat her by 2 minutes. So I had hoped that I would finish it in about 35 minutes. I was at 36 minutes when I crossed the finish line. I'm very happy with that. Like I said, there was no practice that went into this jog, and I definitely jogged more than half of that 3.2 miles. So I'm proud of myself. And I beat my 13-year-old, which is just even more enjoyable. But the best part of it was she actually said she enjoyed it so much that she would like to do another one with me. So I guess I'm a mom who runs with her daughter now. We won't be doing more than 5Ks though. The 10K thing, I think that's beyond me. If she wants to do one, I will go cheer her on. But yeah, so I'm going to try to see if I can find another one that doesn't interfere with cheer competition or baseball game weekends, and we will do that again. So it was interesting. Not this weekend, but next weekend, I am also going to be doing a strength competition at my gym. It's a 500-pound / 1,000-pound competition. There is a women under 50 and a women over 40 category or 50 category. So I'm going to be competing with a lot of women in their 20s and 30s. And I can't get a full range of motion on my squats because of my knee surgery. So I don't expect to even, I actually expect to be disqualified because of my squat depth when I have weight on my back. But I wanted to just do it to see if I can get a 1 rep max and just to challenge myself to do something different. So I'll let you know how that goes. But that's it for my updates. Let's talk about some GLP-1 news. So an article that caught my eye this week was on Wednesday. USA Today had an article that was reporting that McDonald's is testing out a high protein menu options for GLP-1 users. And I found this really interesting because, well, I'll read some of the information from it, but I don't know if you are on a GLP-1, I don't know about you, but my desire for fast food is gone. I used to eat fast food multiple times a week. Now, I really struggled with fast food consumption because I can't have gluten. So like McDonald's was not an option for me. I can't have the bread. A lot of the stuff has cross-contamination. I couldn't eat most fast food, but there is some fast food that I can eat. And I used to eat it at least once a week, if not more. And now I don't want it like at all. Like I eat it when we're on the road, if we're on a trip because I have to, but if we have a week where or if there's like a day where we didn't plan or we accidentally ate more of our food than we had planned for the week and we need a quick option, as much as I love like the grilled chicken at Chick-fil-A, I love getting a grilled chicken salad from Chick-fil-A. Anytime we have to do it, I'm almost like, oh, I don't want to eat that. So it's interesting that a fast food restaurant is kind of targeting this audience, because I feel like I'm not alone in that, where I don't even want to go near fast food. Like my desire for that is completely gone. But I guess GLP-1 users are on the road. We do need options from time to time. So it's at least interesting that it's something they're trying to target. Now the article was reporting that they're not seeing a change in numbers because of the number of GLP-1 users out there. They actually still profited more in fourth quarter last year than the previous quarter. So they're still seeing growth, which is crazy to me. It's McDonald's, but I did want to read this quote. So Executive Vice President and Chief Restaurant Experience Officer Jill McDonald said that the restaurant, quote, is pretty protein forward, and we have a number of items on the menu that customers who are on a GLP-1 enjoy, unquote. So I agree with her. There are a lot of protein options on their menu. They've got, chicken and burgers and sausage and bacon and artificial eggs, but it's not lean protein sources. And so it's not, and a lot of it is really greasy, which settles it settles hard on many GLP-1 users' stomachs because we have the delayed gastric emptying. So really greasy foods can actually disrupt our digestion process and make us feel sick, like nauseous, or we can have those side effects, those gastrointestinal side effects from eating foods like what they're talking about. It can cause nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and constipation. So I found it really interesting that was what she pointed out. I don't know if they have a full understanding of how GLP-1s can impact patients' digestive systems, but there are protein sources there. I'm just wondering if they're going to be offering more lean protein sources instead of like breaded, fried options. But this is just another example of many of the fast food restaurants that are out there that are trying to kind of tap into this GLP-1 industry. Fast food restaurants that have already focused on this are like high protein GLP-1 user focus. Are places like Starbucks. They have a new protein menu where they're making protein coffees. Dunkin' Donuts did the same thing. And then Chipotle has a high protein menu option where they're increasing the amount of meat that they put in their orders. So there is this high protein trend in fast food because of the focus on increasing protein from just natural consumers, but also from the focus on it by GLP-1 users. So I'm interested to see kind of how that continues to impact the food and beverage industry. On Thursday, Medscape reported that GLP-1 users are linked to an increased risk of deficiencies in vitamins D, iron, and B vitamins. And so that kind of caught my attention. I was like, oh, deficiencies. I mean, that makes sense, especially if you are a GLP-1 user who is struggling with some of those main 4 gastrointestinal side effects and it's impacting how much you eat, or if you're somebody who's really sensitive to the medication and it's really causing a major decrease in appetite, and then you're eating in too much of a calorie deficit. Of course, you're going to have deficiencies in macro and micronutrients if you're not eating enough. So I kind of clicked on it and I was like, let me read more. So this news is actually coming from researchers comparing 6 studies that involved 480,825 adults 18 plus being treated with GLP-1s. And in the study, they found that 12.7% of patients were newly diagnosed with a nutritional deficiency at the 6-month mark, which again, I don't really find that surprising because so many GLP-1 users have an issue with eating enough calories, especially in those early months. But what I did find interesting was that at the 12-month mark, this increased to 13.6%. So it went from 12.7 to 13.6. So there were even more deficiencies at the 1-year mark versus the 6-month mark. So those deficiencies were continuing for many patients, and new patients were still not getting enough nutrients at the 12-month mark. And to me, as somebody who works in fitness and nutrition, that's signaling that many of these GLP-1 users may not be getting the support that they need in proper nutrition, meaning they're not meeting with a registered dietitian who's explaining to them how to plan their meals so that they don't have these deficiencies, and they're not speaking with their healthcare providers about ways that they can supplement the the vitamins and minerals that they may not be consuming because they're not getting enough calories in their day. And so if you are a GLP-1 user, that may be something you want to talk to your healthcare provider about. Ask them to run the lab work, check on your, on your vitamins and minerals, see if there's any deficiencies there, and then talk to them about how you can increase that percentage through whole foods, and then what you can do to supplement where you're clearly needing additional support. Okay, in other news, the New York Post published an article this past week that is titled "Chill Pill, Being in Shape May Actually Make You Less Angry," from a study. And so I found this interesting because I am someone who has actually noticed since losing the weight, since being on a GLP-1, my moods have increased, which is they've been improved, which I've been in fitness for 8 years now. So I've been working out this whole time, but my moods and my outlook on life has definitely improved in the past 15 months. And it's even more noticeable to me because of my age. So I'm 40, I'll be 41 next month. And many of my peers are beginning to go through perimenopause, and they're seeing, their moods be more foul and they're more reactive. And that's just because of the hormonal changes that are happening in our bodies. But I'm experiencing the opposite. And so this article caught my attention. And so in this article, it says researchers at the Federal University of Goiás in Brazil divided 40 participants into two groups. So this is a very small study, but 40 participants into two groups, one with above average and one with below average fitness levels. They then showed them neutral images of everyday household items, and then they showed them some unsettling images that were designed to trigger stress and a negative emotion. From this, all of them felt some sort of, all of them felt tense to the negative images, all participants, the really fit and the below average fitness levels. But the above average group had a lower level of anxiety and anger, and they remained more calm throughout the interaction. But the below average group had a 775% greater risk of anxiety levels. 775% greater. That's crazy. Greater risk of anxiety levels rising from moderate to high. They also had less anger control. So the less fit the individual, the more likely they were to act on their anger. I found that really interesting. One of the things that they were crediting in this article is that, movement and fitness and exercise releases things like serotonin, endorphins, and dopamine, all of which are like those feel-good, happy, mood-boosting hormones in our body. And these mood boosters act as natural pain relievers and stress relievers for our body. So if you're regularly releasing these hormones, it can help with increasing your mood and your outlook on life, which can then reduce stress and anxiety. So more studies need to be done on this. Clearly, this was a very small study. I just found the numbers crazy, but it would be really interesting to see if exercise can be used as an anger management tool moving forward. I'm really, really interested in that. All right, so that was it for the articles that caught my attention this week. Let's answer some of your questions. So the first question that I wanted to talk about this week was a question I had about group fitness classes and getting started on them. So I'm going to generalize the answer because it's not the first time I've had this question, and it just kind of brought me to where I'm what I'm going to talk about today. So someone had asked about, I'm looking into going to this class, but I don't really know if I how to make myself go to it. What's your suggestion there? And one of the things I said that they responded to that they said was kind of surprising was I said group fitness classes aren't for everybody. And I know I talk about them a lot because they have changed my life. Group fitness classes have made me find me again. They've given me a core group of friends. They gave me this community of support that has helped me through all of the ups and downs of my life over the last 8 years. It's helped with just so many parts of my life. So I love group fitness, but it isn't for everybody. Some people do like to work as a lone wolf. They prefer exercising alone on their own time, not on a schedule, not relying on others. They don't want to feel like they, need to help the person next to them or they have to wait for somebody next to them. They kind of just want to do their own thing and get out of there. And if that's you, that's totally fine. That's it. I mean, we're all different. We're all in different journeys. We all have different needs. And so that's totally fine. Not everyone is going to enjoy a group fitness class. But if you are interested in trying a group fitness class, the one thing that I always say to this question is, if you want things to change, you have to make the change. Otherwise, they're going to continue to stay the same, right? if you want change to happen, you have to make that happen. No one else is going to do it for you. Someone's not going to come and like physically carry you into the group fitness class to try it. But the worst thing that's going to happen is you try it and you don't like it. But the best thing that's going to happen is you try it and you find out that you really enjoy it. And then you found some new passion in your life, some new hobby in your life. And this is a really healthy habit to have, is a group fitness class. You don't have to go to the class every week. You might try a group fitness class and like the exercises, but not the instructor. And then you can find a different class that's similar with a different instructor. Or maybe you like the instructor, but not that class. And maybe that instructor teaches a different class at a different day and time. And you could try that. Or maybe you'll make a friend in class and they can make other suggestions, or they could become your gym workout buddy or your walking buddy. So if it's something that's even on your mind, push yourself to try it. I know trying new things is scary, especially the older we get. We don't want to try new things. We like what we're doing. But if you're watching this channel, it's because you're trying to make a positive change in your life. And just consider this one more positive change for yourself. Challenge yourself to take that one class, and then you can at least check off the list that you did it. But if it's really just something you're not interested in all, you don't have to do it. I'm not pushing anybody to take group fitness classes if it's not the right fit for you. All I care about is that if you are physically able to and your doctor's okay with it, move your body in some way. It can be walking, gardening, painting, kayaking, biking, pickleball, whatever it is you enjoy, just move your body in some way. That's all I encourage. The next question that I had is, how do you stay motivated for your workouts? And I found this, I was like, okay, I've got to address this, because one of the biggest reasons why I became a group fitness instructor, I mean, other than it kind of falling in that way, was because it forces me to go to the gym. If I'm the one teaching the class, if I'm being paid to be there, I have to show up, right? So it forces me to go. But I do go to other classes regularly where I'm a participant. I don't have to be there. But that is another reason why I enjoy group fitness classes, is because when I go to the class, after you've gone a few times, if you miss a class, people are like, hey, where were you? And it kind of gives me a sense of accountability and like a little bit of peer pressure to go. And so a perfect example of this is I take a bar class, which is like ballet bar, right? It's a low impact, low intensity class, but it's a really great workout. And I take it on Tuesday mornings. I drop the kids off at school and I go straight to the gym. I am friends with the instructor, and a lot of the people who take the class are also my participants. And I had to miss a class because my daughter had an event at the school, and literally I didn't even make it to noon that day. The class is at 8 a.m. By noon, I had 4 messages from people going, hey, where were you today? Why weren't you in class? Are you okay? And they were genuinely asking. They wanted to make sure I wasn't sick or some emergency didn't happen. But I was like, oh yeah, it was just a thing for my daughter's school. I'll be there next week. And I felt like I had to go the next week because everyone was expecting me to be there. And so that really is a big motivator for me. But I do stay motivated for going to the weight room for other purposes. So my motivation for going into the weight room is because I want to make sure that I am increasing my bone density and my muscle mass as I age. So every 10 years after age 30, an adult's muscle mass can decrease by 3 to 5%. And the way that you combat that is by eating a high protein diet and strength training. And so I have that fact embedded in my brain as a fitness professional, and that really motivates me to get into the gym. I want to be strong and capable at 70, 75, 80, 85. I have participants who are in their early 80s who still come to dance classes. Now, they're not dancing full out and jumping around, but they can still move really well and they live independently. And that is my goal. I want to be just like them when I'm in my 80s. I want to be living independently. I want to be able to move about my house, do my own laundry, clean things, cook my own meals for as long as I possibly can. And so that's a big motivator for me now, is that in 40, 45 years, I still want to be living a really healthy life. And that starts now. If you're older than me, it's not too late to start that. Start small and work your way up. Every little bit that you can do to combat that aging or reverse some of that aging will benefit you in the long run. The next question that I had, this is the last question for the day that I wanted to talk about, is I had a question that said, I don't want to count calories. What do you suggest I do? And I found this to be interesting because I hate counting calories too, but it was really, really helpful in the beginning to make sure that I understood what I was consuming. So if you don't want to count calories, forever, I really encourage you to at least do it for a little while. Get an idea of what your proper portion sizes are and how much you're actually eating in a day so that you have an idea if you're in your calorie range. That's the only way that you're really going to know for sure that you are eating in a calorie deficit and not neutral or in a surplus, right? And being in a calorie deficit is the only way to guarantee weight loss. So I do encourage you to do it for a little bit. If you don't want to do it every day, take a break from it from time to time and then revisit. Maybe the first week of every month you count calories and then you try to eat similarly to that throughout the rest of the month, and then you can revisit just to kind of reset yourself. But if you really just don't want to count calories at all, I do have a suggestion. Focus on protein and focus on fiber, especially on protein in the beginning. This is still going to require some math, but it's a little bit easier math and you're not sitting there like hyper focused on everything you put in your mouth. So if you don't want to count calories, focus on protein. Talk to your doctor and a registered dietitian about what your protein goal should be for the day. And then you're going to do some math to find really good protein sources. So I mentioned this in my 15 no nonsense weight loss tips video that posted yesterday. But the way to figure out if you have a good protein source is to take how many grams of protein are in that food source and times it by 100. So if you have, say, Greek yogurt, or let's say you have cottage cheese, okay? And the cottage cheese is 100 calories, 13 grams of protein. You're going to take that 13 from the grams of protein, multiply it by 100. That's 130. 130 is more than the 100 calories. That is a good protein source. Same with like a lean chicken breast. A serving size of lean chicken breast is 120 calories, okay? I think it's 24 grams of protein in a lean chicken breast. So if you take 24 grams of protein, multiply it by 100, that's 240, right? 240 is more than 120. That is a fantastic source of protein. So focus on those types of protein sources. Put that on your plate and eat that protein first. Next, you're going to eat fiber. And you want to try to reach, if you're an average American adult, the amount that the average American adult should be consuming is about 25 grams of fiber per day, but talk to your healthcare provider to find out what your number should be. But focus on fiber, and you can just look up how many grams of fiber are in certain vegetables and just track that. And if you're focused on protein and fiber, and then you're eating your protein first and then your fiber before you eat your fun foods, you're probably going to be full before you hit your calorie goal, and you'll be doing great. And this is just quick math that you can do with each meal, right? So if you don't want to focus on the fiber at all either, start with that protein. Find out what your protein goal should be. Is it 80? Is it 100? Is it 120? What is your protein goal based on your body's needs according to your doctor and your registered dietitian? And then do that quick math. The number of grams of protein in the item times 100, is that number, that times 100 number, more than the number of calories in the serving? And if it is, eat that and eat it first before you eat the other stuff on your plate. Okay, that's it for me today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry my cats ran off. Chester and Emma are now eating lunch or brunch, I guess. And I've got to head out. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, I would really love for you to like and subscribe to the channel. And I would also love it if you could share this with somebody. I'm really trying to grow the channel and grow our community. Post in the comment section below what you've been doing this past week to move yourself forward on your own journey. I love hearing from all of you, and I will check in with you next week. Bye-bye.